Okay, welcome everyone to another episode of The Perfect Shade. We have a very, very special guest today, Mr. Chunky.
Hi everybody.
Right, so for those that don't know, Chunky is one of the local pioneers of Campbell locking, and we will talk about why we call locking Campbell locking now as well. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so before that, let's get to know you a little bit.
Okay.
Right, so can you share with us how you got your name Chunky?
Basically, I've always been a pudgy kid for my whole life, and I guess when I was starting my dance life, I get called out about my weight a lot. It's the best reference, you know. Yeah, and the chubby dancer, the fat dancer.
Okay.
Yeah, when I went to Taiwan on my first trip, I think I heard somebody say, because I actually went to perform with Okru in Taiwan. It was my first overseas show, and of course I was a slightly bigger one, right? So I overheard the production crew when they were filming on stage, you know, like okay, can you frame that dancer? Can you frame? Okay, you frame the big one. 哦，那个胖的，诶，那个陪耶，sometimes speak in there. But for me, I embrace it lah. You know, I'm okay because I'm alright because I've always been used to being a bigger kid. Yeah, so I put it as part of my name, and I'm thinking, what is the best adjective to describe big? You know, there's humongous, huge. How about chunky? Chunky because of a chunk of funk.
Hey.
Chunky but funky.
Hey.
Yeah, so. Yeah, I think the name kind of stick, and yeah, the rest is history.
Yeah, I think it's like one of those street names that, at least for the local scene, right? We hear Chunky, oh, we know who is it really.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I'm glad it was well received. Yeah, and yeah.
I see. Okay, so can you also share about like how you found out about locking / Campbell locking?
I was already doing some locking moves, even though I did not know it was called locking. Actually, this is an embarrassing fact. When I started my dance life, it was during the first K-pop wave. Back then, in early 2000s, nobody cared about K-pop. Everybody was into Japanese pop, Taiwanese pop, and of course the American boy bands. K-pop was niche. Yeah, and so there was this boy band, in fact the first boy band coming out of Korea called H.O.T.
Oh,
H.O.T. And they have this song called We Are the Future, and it was my favorite song.
Right.
I later found out that the steps, the dance moves inside it was incorporating house dance and locking.
Wow, I need to go and watch that.
Yeah, and the dance break, so I like this movement a lot, you know. Yeah.
Okay,
so I kept repeating this, and then after that, at that time there was no social media, there was no YouTube, but there was peer-to-peer sharing platforms. Illegal one that's where you get all your songs and movies and
Or the LimeWire.
Oh my god, don't remind me. Cannot say so much. People will reveal your age. Yeah. So I do know of the term breaking, breakdance, popping, locking, pop lock. These were things because I knew like at that time, kind of like, okay, this is like called the pop lock. Yeah, this is the pop lock.
Okay.
But I didn't know what was the lock thing in the pop lock. Yeah.
Okay.
I just know this is part of pop lock.
Okay.
Yeah. So there were really bad videos circulating at that time, and that was our reference. But I kind of had an idea what it is. So my impression of locking or popping at that time is done to break beats. My impression, because of the bad information that came.
The videos you were just watching.
Yeah,
at the time,
because I just incorporated it with like breakdancing and all that. Yeah, and hip hop dance, and I had no clue. Then I joined Foreign Bodies in Nanyang Poly, and that was during those days that they had no idea what they were doing also. They had no idea what we were doing. And my batch was the transitioning phase from the pop to hip hop and street dance.
Right, okay.
Jin Lam was my senior. Yeah, Jin Lam from old school. She was the one the first one in my club that experimented with hip hop techniques. So actually, I would accredit Jin and the Street Souls to be one of the pioneers of hip hop dance, authentic hip hop dance in Singapore. And that style was incubated partly also in NYP.
Wow.
And not many people know that. I got the footage to prove it. Because nobody was doing groove at that time. Yeah, but okay, I digress. So I was in that whole atmosphere dancing. Yeah, but I still had this, you know. Yeah, and nobody knew what it was. So more videos came about, and I kind of like have a better understanding until 2005. There was this concert called Break the Urban Funk Spectacular.
Okay.
So this show, they actually curated dancers from all over US, breakers.
Wow.
So you had Free Rock. At that time, You Got Served just came out in the movies, and a lot of the dancers that came were in that movie. Yeah,
They came in Singapore.
They came to Singapore Indoor Stadium. Yeah, you had Aqua Boogie, you had Sweepy. These are like big time poppers.
Wow,
yeah,
that's
even
Sweepy.
until today, you know. Yeah, so so a lot of high level breaking, and then I watched this segment where they had James Brown tune came out, and then the dancers jump onto stage with costume, with cross suspenders, with big apple caps, high socks and everything, and then they started dancing to James Brown's Get Up Off of That Thing. I had my camcorder, I was in the front row, I just kept it on record, and then they were all in front of me. So that loop kept playing, and then I saw, wow, their moves are so out of this world. I don't know what it was, but it just hit me so hard, you know. And then they were jumping, they were doing the splits, they were so animated, and they were so colorful. And then there was one part of the song, it's just the bass like so this is the first time that when I listened to a song, right, the rhythm section is playing in loop, and then I was riding that wave. My hand was still in position. I was not looking at the screen anymore. Yeah, and then I was looking at locking Q, Aqua Boogie. Sweepy was locking. He forgot half his choreo, but it was still funky. Yeah.
Maybe that's part of the funk.
Yeah, that was it, right? Yeah, it was not breaking, it was not popping, but it's this other style. And actually, I was more intrigued with the music. I did not know what music this was.
Wow.
Yeah, I was so caught in a hip hop dance club, but I couldn't really resonate or really understand what really was hip hop music, R&B music, funk music. I had no general knowledge on music. Yeah, so back then in my Discman, yeah. Discman. Okay, last time in my Discman it was all Eurodance. Yeah, first wave K-pop. Punk rock.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was in my that day totally changed my taste. So what happened was at the end of the show, right, they had merchandise. They had the soundtrack CD.
Oh, you just buy?
Huh? I was waiting to buy lah. I was standing there, then at the merch booth, nobody manning the booth, so I wait there for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Nobody's there. Then I'm like, alamak, I need to go already. My friend waiting for me. So I just take it. Just take walao, this one cannot go heaven already.
It's okay.
But then when I got the CD, every now and then I still pray for forgiveness. Like, sorry, I did this, but it was necessary. I took the CD, I put this man, track number 12 is that track. That was shook already. But I still didn't know who sang that song.
Wow.
I did not know until somebody who heard me play on repeat all the time. Oh, James Brown, that was it. On my Kaza, on my LimeWire.
That's it.
That's it. I went James Brown, and that was where I found out that he's got all these other tracks, and that's where I started this wormhole
obsession,
of funk discovery. Yeah, and then it was the music first. The music that I really like is I just like the what is this genre? It's like break beats, but not break beats, but got so much feeling, you know. Yeah. So I thought I don't want to just listen. I want to react to it. So that's where I started to properly go and research. Okay, it was so painful, but thankfully, 2005 was where YouTube just came, and when you type locking, have like 28 videos. Yeah.
There's a lot back then already.
I was like, wow, so Hilti and Bosch, Gogo Brothers, P-Lock and Jimmy Soul, and then from Taiwan you have Aga, Swift Lockers, and then you have me as well. You start to post so I was the noob back then. My first video on YouTube is me doing the Scooby walk and my pants tear. Yeah. Iconic. So that was when I started also receiving a lot of hate. Very racist. Most racist comment was, wow, Jackie Chan is doing locking right now. Wow. It's like, wow, you know, I found that quite funny. Yeah, then it's like, wow, this guy needs lessons. I agree. Yeah, wow, Asian guys are doing pop locking now. Wow, this kind of things. Then, in the midst of all these comments, actually I go and delete. So you cannot go, you go and find, you won't see it, I go delete. In the midst got this guy, his username is Max S3Wear. Max 3Wear, yeah. Well, he showed me a lot of love.
Okay.
Yeah, he made a lot of comments. Then I see on his page, he got a lot of locking videos, of this group that all them skinny one from Taiwan. Yeah. Then why so skinny? But very funky. I realized he's actually the pioneer of the South Side, and his name is Aga. So he English was so bad, my Chinese was so bad, but we made it work. So he gave me comments. I will post videos and then he will comment.
Wow, that's so
he will give me music online.
Wow.
Then last time got no Google, no Yahoo yet. I had to use the browser name is Alta Vista. I need to use the translator to translate my English to Chinese for him, his Chinese to English for me.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was my first relationship with another locker out of Singapore. Yeah. At that period also, so that Break Urban Funk Spectacular, they had a dance competition also. So Michael was there, Michael won. Yeah. Ben was there. Yeah, Ben was runner up. And you know who the other person that got third place? Zaiha. Zaiha has been around a long time. He was a breaker first.
Yeah, that I'm aware of.
His crew name is En Route at Sly.
Okay.
En Route at Sly, yeah. His signature move is he will go to the edge of the stage and do a freeze there and suspend there. Yeah, so I knew Zaiha first as a B-boy. Yeah. Then after that he go into hip hop dance and things like that. Yeah. So that period was quite interesting. So that's where I got my footing in locking. I empty out all my savings, go to Taiwan.
So your first teacher was?
My first teacher is Aga.
Wow.
And he's just this ball of positivity, you know. And he took me under his wing, he showed me his ways. I took lessons from him. I learned a lot, not just in the dance, but how he navigates and the outlook of life and how he relates to people. And through his students and through the culture he built there, I wanted to emulate that in Singapore. Because back in Singapore, there was totally no access to the style.
Right.
There's no knowledge. And those who were doing it at that time, you know, they were not openly sharing it. There's no community feeling.
Right.
Yeah, at that time it's studios, schools and schools, but there was nothing outside of this system that was unifying dancers. Like if you were from school A, you are school A in your bubble.
Right. All little pockets.
Exactly. Yeah. So we started this community. It's just a motley handful of us. We were all teenagers. We started this community called Line City Lockers. It was actually the idea from this guy called Chris Su from KSDP, Korea Singapore Dance Project, which I feel I credit as the guy that kick-started the street dancing in Singapore.
Wow.
Yeah. So he wanted to come up with this project called Lion City Lockers, where he recruits a group of lockers to form this performance team. So I counter proposed him, hey look Chris, instead of having like a select group, why don't we make this into a community? And he was like, you know what, go ahead. Yeah, the name was actually given to us by Chris, that was his name, and it was actually to pay homage to the first b-boy crew in Singapore, Lion City Rockers.
Right, okay.
So Lion City Rockers was before Radical Force. Yeah, and so he said, we had Lion City Rockers before, why not let's have Lion City Lockers? But his idea was to make a crew. Yeah, so he gave us his blessings. He said, you know what, I think that's a better idea, go and make a community, Lion City.
That's dope.
Yeah, so how we function is we meet go SMU The first dancer I know that goes to SMU is Michael.
Wow.
The first person, me and Michael, we were the first few people that actually go to Esplanade and dance also.
Wow.
When I was doing K-pop, that thing, I was already I was already at Esplanade dancing.
Wow.
But the first person to go there to session popping locking was actually Michael. So.
Wow,
At the time got no breakers, no skaters, nothing yet. Yeah.
So okay, then to those out there that question or ask, who was the one who started dancing at SMU or Esplanade?
I would say Michael.
Yeah, that's your answer.
But it's to me. But to Michael, maybe there's somebody before him.
Oh, that's
but
true.
in my eyes, he's the first person that,
Session there.
Yes.
Wow.
I know of SMU through Michael Sim.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, so Esplanade one debatable lah. As a 15-year-old boy, I was already there dancing. Yeah.
Wow. So what is, we throw this term, especially for funk style dancers, right? We throw around this term like funk all the time, right? So what does being funky mean to you?
Oh, loaded word, bro.
Yeah.
Loaded word.
Yeah.
It's like the word soul.
Yeah.
It's so loaded. Basically, soul means black, right? And that equals deep, depth. Funk and funky is a little bit different. Funky is more broad, general. Hey, that's a funky head. Hey, dance is funky, it's hip, something that is cool, But the funk though, that's deep. Yeah. To understand that, you kind of have to understand the definition first. The definition in the dictionary is like a pungence, stink, something stinking. Like a dead body is funk. That's deep funk. When James Brown did his concerts, and his kind of music made people dance, and he stink up the whole room.
Yeah,
and he said,
sweat and everything.
Oh, that is the funk right there. So from then onwards, people started to call his genre of music funk, because when you heard James' music, it's smelly one. Because
people
people
he sweats so much.
So okay.
You see his videos, he's
Correct.
sweating.
So that became the term for his, because when he was doing the music at that time, musicians were rejecting his way of doing the music. Okay, but then it gave birth to this whole genre. But this genre is also the way the music is being played is very different. Yeah, it's like the music that was before they focus very much also on the vocals in front, and then the rhythm section at the back. I think the way James Brown did it was he highlighted the rhythm section a lot. Now instead of 3-minute tracks, right, let's play 7-minute tracks and then just go. Yeah. So he highlighted the rhythm section, and of course the syncopation and the accent on the one, things like that. So when you heard his music, everybody is like deep in the groove, in the zone. Yeah. So when you say funk in the musical sense, that's like, you are in the zone. You are so deep. You are really in a different headspace and a mind space.
Right.
Yeah. So it's a very deep thing, On the non-music side, when I say, okay, I'm in a deep funk right now, that actually means that you're either in trouble, you're in trouble, I'm in a funk right now, or you are, but that doesn't always mean it's bad. you know. Sometimes, when I'm music, I'm in such a deep funk, you know. Yeah, I think that's basically another way of saying that you are deep in the feeling of the moment in the music. Yeah, that's something that you cannot articulate or describe or quantify.
Yeah,
Or
I understand, yeah.
So it's like they say, the funk is never planned.
You can't fake the funk.
You can't fake the funk. It's
Yeah.
just done.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't fake it. It's just there. So this is just my attempt of trying to understand or define it. But it's just like art. You can't really define art, right? It's the same way you can't really describe what color is funk, what shape is funk, how deep you are in. Yeah. So that's the way I'll say it.
I see.
Yeah. I hope I answered that question.
Yes, you did. So I also want to touch on this topic. So sometime last year, there was a petition to change the term locking to Campbell locking.
Actually, I don't really know whether it's called a petition.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean somebody made a statement and it awoken some thoughts. Okay, to start with, it has always been Campbell locking. Don Campbell's dance, Campbell locking. It has always been. It didn't start with locking. It was a Campbell locking. Yeah, he wrote a song, and unfortunately, the name "Do the Campbell Lock," word Campbell, was subjected to infringement.
With the can suit Campbell,
No,
right?
I think this is a name with another record label.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it was difficult to do because at that time the lockers, originally they were called the Campbell Lock Dancers. They were going on shows, right? But shows can't really use their music because of the name infringement. Yeah, and shows, and that time they rarely use recorded music. They were all live band. Yeah, and then to perform these dances on, there was already like copyright laws and things like that. So they can't function with that name. They can't function being called a Campbell Lock. Yeah, they can't function. You know, if they can't get the shows if they do not do something. So
because
they
of
change
this
it.
obstacle,
Yeah, and by then also at this time, it wasn't just Don anymore. It was Don and a troupe of other dancers who had their own signatures. Okay, and to understand the entire vocabulary of locking or the Campbell Lock, you kind of also have to understand what happened with Scooby-Doo. So Scooby-Doo was the first guy that introduced a vocabulary after Don. So
okay.
Don had the first 8 moves, right? The wrist roll, the keeping time, the lock,
Points?
the point, yeah, the lock, and things like that. So there were a total of 8. Scooby added the Scooby-Doo. That was not Don anymore.
Right, okay.
Yeah, the Scooby added the Scoobot. Yeah, Scooby added the stop and go. Yeah. So that was when it started something in the rest of the community. It's like, wow, you mean I can add stuff into this dance? So when they did the Lockers troupe, everybody had their own signature. So Fred Berry, he had the slow motion, and Floki Luke had the Which Way and the Leo Walk. You know what I mean? And that's why also they thought that it was apt to call it locking, because it was no longer just Don, just everybody. Yeah. So but my argument is that without Don, none of this would have mattered.
True.
That means you could have done the Which Way and that's your own thing, right? You would have been you wasn't being associated with the Campbell Lock in the first place. Yeah. So Don left us a few years ago. Yeah, and I think part of how we want to remember his legacy is to take the name back, because
Honor him in a way.
because the copyright is expired and it's no longer relevant to discount the name in our time. And there is no harm. It's the truth. It's the first name. It is Don. And in the spirit of creating new moves to add the vocabulary, is also in the spirit of honoring Don. Because Don says, use my foundation and do something new, or be something else and add something. Yeah, so I think that's also in the spirit, you know. It's quite divided because there are many perspectives. One is of this perspective, and another perspective is, you know, but locking refers to, the term locking refers to all the other moves that others added. Yeah, so like Slim the Robot, he's one of the original members of the Lockers. His argument is, yeah, locking and camber locking is different. You know, because locking is like, who do you want to see? If you want to see Don, that's called the camber lock. If you want to see locking, that's the rest of us.
Right.
The Witch Away, the Skeeter Rabbit, and all that. Yeah, that was the argument. Yeah, and I respect that argument. But personally, none of that would have mattered without Don.
He's the originator, yeah.
Yeah. If you do, in my opinion, if you look at Scooby, when Scooby teaches a workshop, he always honors Don. And his move, the Scooby-Doo, wouldn't have mattered if Don didn't teach him the lock, because the Scooby-Doo starts with the lock first. Yeah, none of that would have mattered, you know. So it made a lot of sense. It's very clear personally to me. Yeah, I think it's not wrong to call it locking, because I feel this discussion is great, but I think we should also be very careful not to split it into two camps.
Right.
Because camber locking and locking is the same thing.
Right.
Locking is the camber lock. Camber lock is locking. It's the same term.
Right.
It's just that you have to change different shirts to go to a different party. Like, it's like the same feeling, but you're still the same person.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's nice to honor Don and his creation. Yeah. And I think there's no harm to do it. Hurricane was the one that put out the post.
That's right. That's the one I saw.
Yeah, he put out the post. He asked the question. It made sense. We're not taking sides. Yeah, Hurricane is very vocal when it comes to like culture, and protecting
the
history and the culture of Black African American culture. You know, he's like the protector.
Right.
Yeah. So there's a lot to learn from there. If we look past the passion, actually there's a lot of lessons. Yeah. So when I saw that post, I didn't think very hard actually.
It was pretty clear cut for you.
It's very clear cut. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. We are no longer living. That's 50 years ago. That line doesn't exist anymore. Why? What's stopping me from calling it the camber lock? I still say locking.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I always make it a point to also mention it. This is the you know. So, it's straightforward. I think there is no segregation. Yeah. If you say locking, there's nothing wrong.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. It's not two separate dance.
Do you ever get to meet Don in person?
That's my biggest regret. No.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, that's why I was doing my national service at that time, when he did his last tour to Hong Kong.
Which is the closest.
It's the closest. Yeah, and I didn't get to meet him. Yeah, so did not get to
witness.
Yes.
I see.
Yeah, but I studied him very profoundly through the accounts of people who worked with him. Yeah.
Like Tash and everyone.
Tash is sort of like I call her my godmom. Aga is my godfather. Tash is my godmother. Tash is the one that sets me right on the knowledge and foundation. Every few months I will consult her.
Wow. After all these years, you still like...
Yeah, because I also changed the way I teach.
Right.
Yeah, I revert into... Last time I had my own way. Yeah. I reverted to Don's 8 basics.
Right.
And things like that. So I wanted to be... Like, getting the facts right is something that is very important to me. Yeah. So, yeah, Tash and all that. My closest affiliate OG would be Scooby.
Wow.
This is my biggest respect to him.
So you met him?
Yeah, a couple of times actually.
Nice.
Yeah, recently in Bangkok.
Wow.
Yeah, and then we spoke very extensively.
That's nice.
Yeah, so he came once to Singapore as well. Yeah, he trained a bunch of us privately. Yeah, and I think that will always stay fresh in my mind.
Core memory for you.
Yeah, and I think I know so much about Don because of Scooby. Scooby devotes a lot of time shouting about Don. He never starts his workshops without talking about Don first. So that to me is that's where our adoration and our admiration for Don actually started.
Right.
Because we know the depth of this man, you know. So I had a lot knowing and understanding Don. A lot was actually largely cause of Scooby. Yeah. So he will teach Don's foundation first
Before he
will teach. Then he will understand how the Scooby-Doo came about. Yeah.
I see.
So that itself is already very telling. Yeah. If there was no Don, none of these signature moves would. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
Then also could you share a bit? We spoke privately also about like the misconception that you are the only pioneer of locking, right?
Okay.
Yeah, I want to get that out of the way also.
A lot of people like to use this term, I'm OG of Singapore, OG of Singapore. That is not accurate. Okay. Firstly, I am very humbled and very appreciative of the respect that people have given me. So when they use these terms, it comes from the intention to acknowledge, and it comes from respect, it comes from love. So this one I really appreciate. Yeah, but I was not the first. Yeah. Michael was already doing more profound things before me. Yeah. I also know of taxi driver uncles who could do locking stuff.
Wow.
When I told, I was in a Comfort Delgro cab like more than 15 years ago, and then I said, I do this stuff called locking. Oh, locking? Yeah, of course I know. I was like, oh shit, this guy with like moustache and he a balding head, and he was like, say, last time I do this to Michael Jackson song. You know, don't stop till you get enough. And you do, oh my gosh, he had, yeah. So I do know that there is a whole community of people who did break dance. Last time when Breaking the movie came out, they called this whole dance break dance. These were the guys that do like, you know, these were the guys then they'll spin and do flare. So there was a community, there was a group of people, but it was more like a fad or a trend, not so much a dance community. Yeah. So you have that, and then during my time when I started, Michael, and then there were people that started within the same few months of when I started to really consider myself doing locking. There were already some people around that time frame. Yeah, so I always tell people there's no point saying who is first. Yes, it's accurate that I'm maybe credited to be the main architect to put legacy lockers together and start this new thing.
The community aspect,
Yeah, so that is accurate. Yeah, the people before me, they were concentrated. I mean, they were still concentrating on other styles. Michael was concentrating.
Popping.
He could do house, he could do whacking, he could do locking, he can do popping. But I think he eventually concentrated on popping. Yeah. So for me, I got the locking side running. So I think that was where people started to make the reference. You get what I mean? But I also did not do this alone. I was merely a fire starter. Okay? But I think the main contribution was that we were inclusive and open to all kinds. Yeah, so at that time, teenagers, we were a motley bunch, all kinds of pattern on the character. We are very competitive guys. There are people that are very introvert, people that are very hard-headed, and the challenge is to be able to put all these people together and peace.
Yeah.
Yeah. So had a few controversial characters at that time, but you know, we still put everybody together. And that was a challenge, and that was inspired by what I saw in Taiwan.
Right.
Yeah, and it worked. And eventually this group grew, because I think the fact of that, hey, anybody who want to learn any level, any skill level, and that's last time our slogan, if you can do restore, you are part of IC Lockers already. So I think people wanted to feel that belonging at that time, and then street dance was still very new. So a lot of people come for the sessions, you know. And then at that time, that was where I started to incubate my skills in Nanyang Poly. That's where I'm locker now. I identify as a locking dancer. I practice in Nanyang Poly. Yeah, I had a group of friends that practice with me. Yeah, David and Rachel, and we used to do a lot of shows outside. So we're also one of the first few people that do like tour around Singapore to do locking showcase. But that also not the first locking showcase. The first high level locking showcase that I see with good foundation was actually street shows. The street shows, An Xie Hui, Xiao Hei, not Jin.
Oh, not Jin.
Yeah, that time they were the first people that do high level locking, because their instructor was from, all these dancers, they used to come from Haitie, Ocean Butterfly.
This is way before my time.
Yes. It was actually a music company, but then on the sideline they also offer dance. Their teachers are all from Taiwan. Taiwan was already a very mature style, so they inculcate the idea of groove and rhythm and street dance, different kind of street dance to them. Yeah, so G Lockers, they called G Lockers in Funkermania. G Lockers first, yeah. Then came, but still not like concentrate on the locking. Then it was me and my group. We went around. So we went to SP Waves, early edition and all that. We went to floor skills inter-school.
Floor skills.
Yeah, in the b-boy community, and that's where we started to get more interest. Yeah, and then fast forward a few years later, I met Fong and CK. Yeah, so they become, so Fong and CK, after teaching them, they surpassed my skills very fast. Yeah, by 1-2 years, they're already better than me by a lot. Yeah. So Fong went on to start the Basic Fives. CK went on to take over IC Lockers from me. And that's where things got bigger. So without CK, there won't be lockdown big event. He had the foresight. I don't have that foresight. I only know how to, everybody come, let's together, let's dance, happy. That was my push at that time. Fong is more like driven to do great things. He's very competitive. He wants to, so he formed his own locking troupe, and
the Basic Five.
Basic Fives. He went to Suntec Dance and all that. He very popular. Singapore Dance Delight. You know, he let the showcase side see the locking. Yeah, so he had visibility on the level. And after that, many years later, they had more people doing their own event. Kai with TGIF and things like that, having their own thing. So, and then in the studios, you start to have more people teaching. Yeah, so you see, by then, I was already like, you know, just flowing already, not really pushing that much, because the scene was already breathing on its own. Yeah, and CK was the one that's doing all the big events. Yeah, so if you talk about the scene blossoming, it wasn't just a one person, and that's a misconception. Okay, I merely see myself as the fire starter that maybe started the blueprint of what our locking community can be or should be. You know, it's chill, no politics, minimal politics. Yeah, even if got disagreement, we just agree to disagree. Don't need to have like beef until that. Until today, I still consider lockers, we are quite fun-loving, quite easygoing. You know, I don't like your style, you don't like my style. Okay, we just don't together, but we don't have to fight. You know, that kind of thing. Nothing personal. Yeah, I think I would say that kind of came from then. You know, and then with the way the more senior and elder lockers, the way they conduct themselves, it will also bleed to the newer generation.
Right.
Yeah. So I think that was it. Yeah, I'm not a big event organizer. I don't have many experience organizing big events under my belt. I teach in studios for 7 years after I zao already. I went to the schools instead. So my role is very back end. I engage the largest volume, which is the schools, and then try to feed them into the ecosystem.
Right.
It's very back end. Yeah. So if you think about it, this whole community is a lot of people's work. A lot of people's work. Yeah. I only probably would credit myself to be at the front part to start this movement. Yeah.
Very appreciative of you being a very open and
Of course.
welcoming
Yeah.
pioneer.
Okay.
Yeah.
I try my best.
Local pioneer.
I try my best.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
It comes from love lah. I really like this movement. I believe in it. It's also very personal because I think this dance also kind of gave me a true sense of identity. Yeah, because I think I'm somebody who very confused about my identity, my strength, and do not really know how to articulate my this unexpected energy. You know, I can't do it through writing, speech, or verbally even. Dancing helps me,
Yeah.
but doing the camber lock itself actually elevated my dance a lot more. I can dance on my own. It's my first time feeling freedom with music. I discovered James Brown's bass line and I can surf with it, and that's liberating, and that's done leaps and bounds about my confidence. You know, I grew very much as a being, as a person.
Wow.
Being sensitive to music equals being sensitive to space, to people, to relationships. Yeah, I wouldn't have been very connected to people without the locking or the camber lock. Yeah, so that's why I feel very much, it's almost like evangelism. You know, I really want people to feel this love. That's why we started.
It comes from a good place.
Comes from, and I think, but it wasn't easy because many people have different ways of loving this dance.
Right.
Yeah, and but you know, every time I feel a disconnect or a disagreement, I always remind myself, all beef stems from this feeling, and what can we do to encode and that's how I feel we are different. I think all the lockers at that time really give face to each other. Really, yeah. I don't really like you, but I will come to your jam.
Wow, that's such big respect.
Yeah. It's like there's this guy lah in our CS like to battle everybody. Okay lah, let battle with him lah. Then we lose. Okay lah, congrats you. Come, let's go session together. You know.
Wow, that's so nice.
Yeah, that kind. Yeah. And grow old is also same. Okay lah, battle. Okay, lose don't say. Come drink beer together. Come.
I agree with it.
Yeah. So I think that give and take, it really helped a lot lah. Yeah, so that's why I think that became the direction of.
I see.
Yeah.
So actually, just to touch on that topic, right? Since you mentioned about schools, I also recently watched a CNA documentary. I was just chilling Sunday, at home. I was like, oh, this man, I recognize this man. So can you share about like what you've been doing with Crest?
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting.
It's interesting to know that I ended up in this career. I never understood why I ended up in education, but I do understand why. Actually, it's a big circle. Yeah, but before I start on that, I need to tell you how I ended up in Crest.
Right, because I think before that I only knew that you taught at NUS and NTU, right? So I didn't know that you were also...
In my whole dance life, I love all aspects of it. Ballet was my least favorite.
Okay.
But it's just something that we got to go through.
Yeah.
But it didn't give me a lot of gratification.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like, and the euphoria expires very fast.
It's because it's like just a moment.
Yeah,
in
you
time.
win today, tomorrow you.
Back to normal again.
Yeah, but if I can teach somebody something, if I can make you do Scooby-Doo today, I feel damn good about it for a week.
Oh.
You get what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I realized that my biggest gratification in this whole dance experience is two things. One is teaching and guiding people, and the other one is two-stepping. Yeah, plus music, two-step, I can go from 8 p.m. to 4 a.m. until house lights open.
Oh.
Cypher, 5 minutes, my stamina not good.
Okay, then slowly trim it.
After that, I need to sit down already. But two-step, okay, this is the two most satisfying thing in my dance life, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so I realized that after so long, after my tenure, the thing I love most actually is working with youth. Yeah, and
Okay.
helping. I just feel like I just get a lot of satisfaction being able to teach people how to move. I think there's a lot of power in there, but not power as in authority, power as in, I think it's a very powerful human experience, getting people to move in. I think all human beings are meant to move and dance. I think it's a very human, it's not something that you need to learn or train, you know. We are all movers because we are all rhythmic creatures.
Right.
Everything in life has rhythm. Yeah, so it gives me a lot of fulfillment to be able to do that. And I ask myself, what do I really want to do in future? So I was in Cambodia. I went to visit this organization called Tiny Toons. Basically, I need to see for myself how hip-hop culture can thrive in the slums. Yeah, I saw this story. I saw this story and I contacted the guy, can I come to see your shelter?
Wow.
And then I went there, I literally saw kids eating out of the dustbin. Then this same kid will go to that place, hey, I saw this kid, you know, walking barefoot, and that fella do head spin and do back tuck.
Wow.
And can do 6-step. I'm like, actually why? Then I see that I feel a bit ashamed, you know. See, I come from this so-called first world country, and then I'm not even half as good as them. Here are these kids who are so poor, and then that's where I realize how powerful the arts is. This is a lifeline for them. Yeah, then I was sitting down outside the studio, and I was reading the core values of this organization. You know, all kids, all children have the rights to express themselves. And I'm like, wow, that is so powerful. And then I'm sitting here thinking I have all the knowledge in the world, right? But such a simple concept like how empowering dance can be to children in their formative years. Then I'm like, what am I doing with my skills? You know, and that's where I made the commitment. Why is this not in our system? Why is this not in our schools? Because our school systems actually is very industrialized. We don't really learn for the sake of learning. We learn to go to the next level, you know, and the arts is there, but it's like a token subject, you know. So I thought, okay after here, why not I try to be a dance educator in our school system? Just like that. It was in Tiny Toons. I just made the decision. Okay, maybe I want to be a teacher, but teaching dance as a subject.
Okay.
Wow, all my friends think I'm mad. Really, so I went to apply for MOE and got rejected 3 times in 2 years. They said they're not looking for someone like that. But at that time also, I was with old school doing assembly program.
Right.
So going to different schools, teaching them about what locking is. Yeah. And I went to CRES and I spoke to the head of department for arts. His name is Mr. Matthias Chua. And then he said, and we just went on, talk about how we should, we were talking and our conversation went, you know, you want to teach kids resilience, right? You build a half pipe in school and just do skateboarding. They learn more when they fall. You just got to teach them how to fall properly and get up. You need things like dance, you know, things like. But of all the things I remember about, he only thought about one thing. He only remembered one thing, dance. So he said, what do you think about having dance in curriculum? We should do it. Yeah, then that conversation turned into an interview.
Wow.
And then they say, okay, we'll call you back.
You kind of manifested this thing in a way.
Something like that.
Wow.
Then after that, he said, I'll call you back for an interview, a proper one. So I received a call from the school. Hey, hi, we'd like to offer you the job. What? Oh, shit. And then 7 months ago, I was in the shelter in Cambodia thinking about, no, not 7 months, a few years ago I was in, you know. So, yeah, that's where I started this journey as an educator.
Wow.
I come to this school, I wear Bermudas and a cap and a baggy shirt, and the kids call me Cher. Cher. And I went there thinking, hey, you know what? I was the R16 champion, I was a Just Debut champion. I think when I went to school, none of that matters at all.
Can go toilet, please.
Yes, none of that matters. So it was humbling experience. Nobody cared. So it was a whole learning. I was used to teaching adults who want to learn dance at a high level. Now I have to teach kids how to stand, how to walk, how to turn left and turn right.
Wow.
Yeah, and learn how to use their bodies, because this is a swiping generation. Our generation used to play block catching.
Right.
We are very dexterous.
Yeah.
Alright? The ball come, we can siam one. This one, the ball come, they will block with the face on. And then they will cry to mommy. So you need to teach them. Their starter kit, right, in life doesn't come with resilience and all that. Yeah, ours is different, Our generation is the parents beat
the shit out of you.
Beat until you okay. Now you try, it's different. So I was faced with a very challenging, it was a steep learning curve for me. But I enjoy it so much because I think the idea and concept about using dance to teach values was
more important.
everything to me. Yeah. So I don't teach any locking technique in school.
Okay.
Yeah, nobody knows what locking is. my students, I teach them basically rhythm, groove, the basic bounces, how to come in, out of the stage, how to collectively function as one unit through movement.
Right.
And very a lot of drama stuff. Okay, now all of you be the tree. Woo. Yeah, all of you, imagine you're walking on sand and freeze.
Do they like all this kind of?
They love it.
They love it.
Because you know why? They tap on the imagination and they very invested into it. Yeah. Anybody who freeze, alright, a kitten dies. Wow. Sometimes it's quite dark lah. But sometimes it's quite fun because you get to see how different kids react and respond. And then I really grew up a lot because the demographics of these kids that come to school, they come from very less privileged backgrounds. Yeah. A lot of them have special needs. A lot of them are high risk, high needs kids. Yeah, and then I realized that actually the dance is not the most important thing that I have. Actually is the people skills, the relation, the youthful connection, which I developed through street dance.
Right.
Because of urban arts and street dance and things like that, I was able to relate to this frequency with the youth. Yeah. And that was my biggest, my experiences in street dance enables me to do my job well. And I think I'm very proud to be part of doing this job because every day is a statement that an educational institute chose the street dancer to educate and inculcate kids. And I always hold this very dearly. And every day I'm teaching people how to move, and to me that's a privilege and an honor. And I'm using street dance because people who are in this job in other countries, they are mostly from classical backgrounds and from the contemporary backgrounds. There's very few of people I know that uses street dance repertoire to engage these kids. So it's a job that I really enjoy a lot, but more importantly is about building and empowering kids. So if you watch the episode, there's this boy that I'm trying to curate experiences and opportunities for him.
The one that does what?
Yes.
Yeah.
Self-taught.
Wow.
Just one day, can I show you my dance? Then kaboom. It's like, where did you come from? And that's where after I make a few phone calls, like, hey Brian, look at this guy. Hey Meow, look at this guy. Yeah, hey Red Cheeses, see, every look sending to everybody. Wow. Yeah. Brian's like, okay, I will come to your school and train him for free.
Wow.
Yeah. You see, only in street dance you get this kind of love.
That's right.
Yeah. That's why I want to also be the bridge between sometimes that scene and my kids sometimes. Yeah. Every once in a while also I bring my dance club students to go and watch Esplanade dance shows. Yeah, and things like that. So
wow, that's amazing.
I do see my two worlds converging. Yeah. I'm also like the DJ guy in school, sports day, maybe play music.
Wow.
Yeah, train the kids how to DJ also. Yeah, so I do have a lot of joy especially when my two worlds can converge.
That's the best feeling.
Yeah, and work is no longer work already because you take pride in it because it's a part of you what. So you always want to do well in it. Yeah, so that's actually where most of my physical and emotional capacity lies in right now. I still coach NTU and NUS periodically in the years. Those are actually the biggest beneficiary is actually me, because I go through a day teaching kids how to be water and sand.
Like,
I want to be able
to balance.
I need something to balance, right, and teach adults. Yeah, and so actually, to be honest, I tell my NUS NTU students a lot. When I enter their studio, I enter with 0%. I'm already tired. But then dancing with them, I actually revitalize
You charge you a bit.
yeah, and I think that is a privileged feeling that not many people can go through. You know, it's like the love of the craft and the energy from the students actually. Yeah, you know, it's like I feel it's a balance. In the daytime, I give. In the nighttime, I receive.
Yeah.
So I feel this is a balance for me and my subtle way of contributing to the scene.
Then what would you say is the challenges that you face teaching crafts, especially when they come from a less fortunate background versus, let's say, your uni dance club students? What are the different type of challenges you face?
My uni dance club students don't give me any problems.
Okay, that's great.
They don't give me any issues. They are all very aligned, calibrated individuals. My only problem with them is they do not ask questions. So every time before the session ends, my exit pass is that
Ask a question.
everybody, collectively, you just need to ask me 4 questions. Yeah. If it's the same person asking 4 questions, never mind. But I just want to be asked 4 questions before I leave. And that's my challenge, because my message to adult learners is you cannot be passive learner. You have to learn from. So when people challenge me and debate with me, I'm very happy. Because, okay, I think, okay, you may debate very fiercely with me, but that means that learning is activated. That means you are invested.
You're passionate about it.
If you disagree, let's agree to disagree, but at least I respect you because you have your opinion. And these people at least will go far. Yeah, I don't want, especially for a style like the Campbell Lock, where is unity and brotherhood, but the individual is very important also, because that's where you can give. My big challenge is not that they are rebellious. A big challenge is they need to do more to be something bigger than
To grow.
exactly.
Right.
Yeah, and I just want to be able to be the catalyst for that, and that's challenging.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Then for crafts?
CRES students a lot. Okay, they are all good by nature, and there are no such thing as a bad student. Even if those that annoy you, which exists every single day, but you need to come to work understanding the why. They did not wake up in the morning wanting to annoy you. They did not wake up in the morning with the intention that I want to be difficult.
Right.
but they woke up very different from you. Today I wake up in a house where I can shower and go. They do not have the same privilege as you.
Wow.
They probably have to share with 6 other siblings. They have to worry about pocket money. Yeah, and then they are probably late from school because waiting for 4 other siblings to shower finish. Yeah, and then by the time they come school, they are already trigger stacked. You get what I mean?
Right.
And when they are rebellious or reactive, there's always a root cause. It's not because it's not you. It's basically in there. If we can understand this part, actually it makes our job a lot easier. And the most challenging part is not the individual, it's the many hats. I am TLC here, I am tough love here, I am a big brother here, I am an instructor, I am no nonsense. So that frequency change is actually very tiring.
Right.
Yeah. I have a class of 18 kids, but all have very diverse needs.
Right.
With the girls, you need one-on-one time and talk and listening, and calibrating the adult voice is very hard because we are wise, we have the knowledge, right? And we want to drop it to them. And sometimes to just be a listener and listen is tough because there's so many things I want to say to you, but it's not the right time. I think developing that timing to dispense the knowledge can be quite tiring because you're so invested, you know, like a girl that has relationship issues with, of course your instinct tells you, hey, don't do this, don't do that, but that's not what they want to hear now.
Right.
You get what I mean? Yeah, so bouncing around on this emotional headspace can be tiring.
Very taxing.
And then you come back, you are tired.
Right.
Yeah. That's why also people in our job, we always need to talk to people. Yeah, we are each other's support. And I'm considered somebody very vocal, and I can openly be vulnerable because I think I learned that in street dance. Yeah. When you out there, you battle, you audition, you are bearing all the what. In our education system, it's not normal.
Right.
So, I think being in the street dance community actually prepares me for this. Yeah, and then when I see like some kids with the background, it's like very humbling background. Yeah, it prepares. Some people is like shocked.
Yeah, I was quite shocked when I watched the documentary. Then I think there was this. I'm not gonna single any kid but there was that moment where like there was a kid that couldn't even get to school because it's being cut. I'm like,
yeah, I mean,
it's
so
sometimes
you are so tough on them, right? It's like, hey, why you never do this properly? How come you? I already tell you many times. So it's like you unload all this problem on them, right? But actually, they got one elementary problem. They can't even come to school.
Yeah, that's
So this is where alamak, sometimes we live in a bubble.
Right.
We take things for granted with the assumption that they can get here safely.
Right.
But it's the simple things like all these things that
you take for granted.
Yeah. So that's why this job will make you grow up a lot.
Yeah, for sure. So what would your advice be for fellow dancers that might want to go the teaching or education route? Like, what would your advice be?
Don't go in too fast. After NIE, go into the industry, experience the world first. Then when you become a teacher, you can report back to your students, look, this is how the world works. The biggest mistake is going to NIE, you come out, you are still early 20s, and you go into a school, and you're just 5 years age difference from the teens, and they ask you about, how do I navigate with my sexuality, with family, and how do I navigate with, relationships, and then you have nothing to offer. Because you yourself are just
starting also.
Don't be a subject master because students, they don't need someone who is just a master in their academic subjects. They actually need a mentor, a big brother, a big sister, a befriender. Yeah, and that takes time and maturity. If you want to teach math because you love math, be a tuition teacher. Yeah, if you want to teach academic subjects, be a tuition teacher. It's a very lucrative job. Yeah, but if you're in the business of empowering and molding youths, okay, be an educator, but give yourself leeway to grow outside of education first.